Hello there, I'm Otto Othman and thanks for joining me this Saturday on 7Edition. The headlines. Prime Minister urges Malaysians to give Pakatan Harapan its 5 years. Otto Othman and 19 others from PKR reject sacking of Central Committee member. And London stabbing suspect shot dead after killing 2 people. We begin tonight's bulletin with the Prime Minister urging Malaysians to give the Pakatan Harapan government 5 years to implement its pledges. At the end of the 5-year period, the people can evaluate and judge the performance of the PH administration through the ballot box in the 15th general election. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, after officiating the 58th annual general meeting of the Malaysians Muslim Welfare Organisation this morning, said the government found it tough presently to achieve its aims due to the severe damage caused by the previous administration to the nation.
Kalau dia tak yakin ada masanya, dia boleh undi. Bila ada pilihan raya yang ke-15, dia undilah. Dia tentukan nasib Pakatan Harapan. Tapi kita buat janji yang banyak. Dia akan mengambil masa 5 tahun sebelum kita dapat tunaikan janji. Tetapi apa yang berlaku ialah di waktu kita menyediakan manifesto, kita tak dapat maklumat yang penuh. Dan apabila kita mengambil alih, kita dapati bahawa kerosakan yang dilakukan oleh kerajaan lama itu jauh lebih dahsyat daripada yang kita anggap. Jadi ini menyebabkan kita sukar untuk mencapai matlamat kita.
The Premier was commenting on the outcome of the National Worry Index survey by think tank Amir Research, which revealed that Malaysians are in a state of high anxiety surrounding issues like the cost of living, jobs, economics and security. The think tank's survey also found that respondents were either unsure or disagreed that the Pakatan Harapan was competitive and the nation was on the right track, or that Malaysia's economy was on solid foundation. On cost of living, the Premier said there were many factors which caused the cost of living to increase.
Ya, kita menghadapi masalah kos sara hidup. Satu daripada sebabnya ialah pihak yang menurunkan nilai mata wang kita. Kalau dulu mata wang kita RM3.80 $1 Amerika, sekarang RM4.20. Jadi dengan kerana nilai mata wang kita, segala yang kita beli itu dah menjadi lebih mahal lah, pasal duit tu murah. Jadi itu satu daripada sebabnya, dan kita akan bincang tentang masalah ini dalam kerajaan.
He pointed out that the prices of some goods have also seen a reduction, but the people do not see that and only focus on prices of goods that have gone up. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Anwar said he will not apologize for sacking Zakaria as a member of the PKR Central Committee. The party president stressed that the decision was based on the MACC's report over an alleged corrupt practice against the Bera PKR division chief.
Tapi yang masalahnya substantif, rasuah itu, kita ada masalah sebagai parti untuk pandang ringan. Tapi bukan surat itu dah tak dipetikai lah, dia juga kata. Tapi nak suruh minta maaf. Orang ni dituduh rasuah, SPRM yang tuduh, bukan saya tuduh. Dan timbalan pendakwa kata mesti ambil tindakan, kemudian saya kena minta maaf. Tapi pagi tadi Surat Tian Chua dan Siva Rasa dan beberapa lain yang menghubungi saya yang mengatakan kenyataan itu tidak tepat. Kenyataan yang disebut ditandatangani oleh Timbalan Presiden Surah Azmin itu sebahagiannya benar, iaitu merayu supaya atau mendesak supaya lembaga disiplin mengkaji semula, yang saya tidak ada halangan. Malah sejak beberapa hari yang lalu saya telah beritahu kepada Datuk Ahmad Kasim pengurusi lembaga disiplin, kalau ada rayuan, beliau harus menimbangkan segera dan kemudian merujuk kepada MPP, Majlis Pimpinan Pusat. Tetapi dalam kenyataan itu umpamanya membantah dan presiden dan mendesak presiden untuk mohon maaf, itu tidak menurut Tian Chua dan Siva dan beberapa orang tidak dalam kenyataan. Maknanya kenyataan itu juga dipermainkan. Tidak semuanya benar.
Datuk Sri Anwar then said the group led by Datuk Sri Azmin should now explain to the public on several issues raised and not to confuse the public further. Datuk Sri Anwar was referring to PKR Deputy President Datuk Sri Azmin Ali and 19 of the party's Central Committee's objection to the sacking of Bera Division Chief Zakaria Abdul Hamid, who is seen to be from their faction. The group that also included Vice Presidents Zuraida Kamarudin and Tian Chua claimed that the move was invalid as it did not undergo due process. In a memorandum to the PKR Disciplinary Committee, the group said they will not recognize the decision to sack Zakaria as it was not formally endorsed by 2/3 of the Central Committee. They also demanded Party President Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim to apologize over the matter. PKR had on Sunday announced that Zakaria, along with Ismail Duladi, were sacked from the party membership following corruption allegations brought against them by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC). This was following a letter by MACC dated October 23rd on the allegations, which allegedly happened during last year's party elections. The MACC, however, later admitted that it had made an error when it advised disciplinary action to be taken against the two PKR members. Meanwhile, Zakaria said it had not been informed about any report lodged against him with the disciplinary board and accused the party of having taken action without hearing his defense. In other news, the government will take into account the composition of e-liquid or vape juice and its sale when drafting the new law to regulate vaping. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Lee Boon Chye said this is to ensure that vape juice is not mixed with other chemicals and that its sale is restricted only to adults. Lee said it would also be made compulsory for the sales of electronic cigarettes to be labelled with the composition of the vape juice to ensure that it is not mixed with harmful drugs. Under existing laws, only medical practitioners registered with the Health Ministry can prescribe nicotine. The Health Ministry is currently working with other ministries, agencies and the police in drafting this new vaping law. As with tobacco cigarettes, the new regulation will enforce the use of vape in open and closed areas, such as in restaurants and public parks, as well as take into account its price and tax. Meanwhile, Lee also said there was no evidence that the patient admitted to the Labuan Nucleus Hospital on November 8th was suffering from a lung disease related to vaping, caused by abuse of vitamin E acetate and THC products. Doctors are still investigating the patient's case. Lee said for now, vape juice in Malaysia have not been found to contain any harmful drugs other than nicotine. ringgit 205 million collected by the Tabung Harapan Malaysia has been used to pay off part of the debt from One Malaysia Development Berhad OneMDB. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng in a statement said the government initially collected 202 million ringgit after donations closed, but the fund size increased by an additional 2.7 million in interest from the trust account. Lim explained that the government used part of the money to fund the interest payment for the OneMDB Sukuk Islamic Medium Term Notes, IMTN, amounting to 143 million ringgit. 61 million ringgit from Tabung Harapan was used to fund the amortization, while the remainder, 82 million, came from the OneMDB Asset Recovery Fund, which stands at 1.45 billion ringgit. Lim said the government was committed towards paying off all loan obligations inherited from the previous administration. He also thanked all Malaysians who contributed to the fund. The next payment be made would be 275 million ringgit for the OneMDB Global Investment Limited bond interest on March 9th next year. Now, several homes and vehicles were damaged when the main water tank at the police quarters in Bukit Pelindung, Kuantan, collapsed. The 280,000-liter tank burst close to midnight, releasing a torrent of water into the surrounding area. Luckily, no one was hurt in the incident. The water tank, which was built near a parking lot, damaged 6 cars and 4 motorcycles. 6 nearby homes of residents of Taman Pelindung, Satu, next to the water tank, were also damaged. Authorities have already started investigating the incident. Some of the residents of the quarters have also been moved to hotels as their water supply was being disrupted. Elsewhere, 2 teenage girls were among 4 people nabbed for using drugs in entertainment outlets. Cops detained them in an operation targeting in 4 entertainment outlets around Kota Kinabalu early this morning. They also detained a teenage boy for possessing 6 ecstasy pills. 127 patrons of the clubs were inspected. All detained are locals. The case is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Police are looking for 3 Myanmar nationals to assist investigations into a murder case that occurred in Taman Sri Batu Caves, Gombak last month. The trio are Aung Ji, Aung San Lang, alias New Shen, and San Chi. The men are aged between 30 and 40. In the November 10th incident, a 34-year-old Myanmar national was found stabbed to death in a housing area in Taman Sri Batu Caves. A police probe found that the victim had taken money from one of the suspects, which was meant to be sent back to the latter's family in Myanmar. In the meantime, the police are appealing to anyone with information on the case to reach out. Coming up next, intense road rage incident leaves a taxi driver without a job. The details next. We're back with world news. British police have shot dead a man who went on a knife rampage that claimed the lives of 2 people and injured 3 others. Stabbing spree occurred in the London Bridge area of the capital on Friday in what they dubbed a terrorism incident. The attacker has been identified as Osman Khan, a 28-year-old man released from prison on a licensed parole in December 2018 after spending 8 years in jail for terrorism offenses. Han was one of 9 people arrested for involvement in the stock exchange plot in December 2010. He pleaded guilty in 2012 to offenses including planning and raising funds for terror-related activities and planned to establish and train at a terrorist military training facility in Kashmir. The judge in his case warned that Han should not be released before he had served a minimum of 8 years of his 16-year sentence, citing his plans a serious long-term venture in terrorism. But due to his confession, Han was released in December 2018 and was subject to a terrorism notification period of 30 years. Now, Friday's attack is thought to have begun in Fishmongers Hall on the north side of London Bridge.
It was almost like a firecracker going off, whether it was police or whether it was somebody else, I don't know.
A bunch of people could start running through, shrieking, saying, "Get down, get down."
We were working in a cafe cooking. All of a sudden, people at either side of our cafe were running, looking back, shouting, "Attack, attack, attack."
Han, who was wearing an electronic tag, had reportedly been invited to attend a justice conference on prison rehabilitation at the venue. It was just before 2 p.m. local time when he began stabbing fellow delegates with 2 large knives. Han had also strapped on a fake bomb belt and threatened to blow himself up before former prisoner bravely challenged him. A witness inside the hall made a tweet describing how the man had grabbed a narwhal tusk from the wall to confront the attacker. Han was then dragged to the ground outside on London Bridge as he attempted to flee, with passers-by also stepping in to restrain him. Just 5 minutes after the alarm was first raised, armed forces from the City of London Police arrived on the scene and, after pulling members of the public off the man, shot him dead. A man and a woman was killed in the stabbing spree, while 3 others sustained injuries. Following the deadly incident, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has vowed to hunt down anyone involved in the attack and bring them to justice. The Mayor of London have also confirmed that the case is being treated as terrorism-related. Coming just days before the country goes to the polls, Friday's attack bore chilling similarities to the outrage at Borough Market on June 3, 2017, 5 days before the year's general election. 8 lives were lost that day. In another stabbing incident, this time in the Netherlands, just hours after, 3 youths were hospitalized with stab wounds on a busy Black Friday in The Hague. It was reported that an assailant struck in a crowded shopping street and sent a shiver of panic throughout the city. A manhunt is underway for the lone attacker who had fled the scene. Police say there is no indication of terrorism from the attack. In the meantime, the young victims, whose details were not released, have been allowed to go home. Tens of thousands of protesters all around the world hit the streets on Friday to make a fresh call for action against global warming, hoping to raise pressure on world leaders days before a UN climate summit. Some protests were part of Black Friday's planned protests around the world, with activists blocking shopping malls in Paris, Montreal, and Madrid, calling for the end of consumerism. Organizers said the climate strikes took place in 2,300 cities in 153 countries. Here are the highlights. The strikes come as experts have warned that global temperatures could rise sharply this century, with destructive consequences after greenhouse gas emissions hit record levels. In total, about 630,000 people demonstrated across more than 500 cities in Germany, demanding more action on climate change, aiming to force political leaders to come up with urgent solutions at the UN conference next week. In Spain, activists from environmental group Greenpeace scaled a building in the heart of Madrid, unfurling a giant yellow banner which read, "Consumerism equals climate crisis." Activists holding protest signs also chained themselves to the windows of different high street shops, but were later removed and arrested by police. Meanwhile, in France, dozens of protesters, many of them teenagers, blocked the entrance to multiple shops around the Westfield Les Quartiers Thames shopping centre. Stores closed their shutters, leaving customers stuck inside, and security guards and police stood on alert as the crowd of protesters made their way store by store. Police in New York took 27 people into custody after hundreds of people sat down in the middle of an intersection at Herald Square to protest against over-consumerism. The group from Extinction Rebellion marched through Manhattan before sitting in the middle of the street, linking arms and blocking traffic. Those arrested are expected to be charged with disorderly conduct. Now let's hop on to Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Now, we have witnessed a multitude of videos showing bouts of road rage, sometimes reaching an unexpected level of intensity. This one in Singapore, though, kind of took it to the next level when he caught it in 2 of such incidents, including one involving a baby. Take a look. In the most recent video, the Transcab driver wearing a beanie and face mask can be seen repeatedly flashing his middle finger at a motorist. Besides using his fist and elbow to hit the latter's car, he also kicks it, while shouting swear words equivalent to cursing one's mother. The bizarre 1.5-minute video was shared on Facebook on November 29th, just before noon, but there was no mention as to what happened before the video or what provoked the taxi driver to cause him to lash out. Now, it appears the same taxi driver was caught on video in a separate altercation at night. A man who was filming the incident and had apparently intervened can be heard saying that the violent man was bearing a weapon.
You from China?
From China?
From China? You damn got weapons on you. This one got child, yeah. Hey, you don't go.
There were no further details provided on this incident as well, but police say they have identified the 42-year-old taxi driver and established a case of criminal intimidation and voluntarily causing hurt based on the videos. Now, updated as of 7 p.m., here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. Now it's time for the My Game On segment with the latest esports and gaming news. Malaysia is hosting one of the world's largest mobile esports tournaments, the PUBG Mobile Club Open PMCO 2019 Fall Split this weekend. Dozens of players have come from all around the globe to battle for a prize pool of over $2 million. Wanazil Islam brings you the details.
Welcome to the esports segment with me, Wanazil Islam. I'm here at the Putra World Trade Center in Kuala Lumpur for the PUBG Mobile Club Open Championship for the year 2019. A total of 16 teams have gathered here in Malaysia from 10 regions around the world to compete for a prize pool of $2.5 million. Let's find out more. We have two teams from Malaysia, Udu Gang, as well as Orange Esports, representing the country to get that bragging rights as the best winner chicken dinner team in the world. The fall split for the year 2019 comes after the spring split for the year 2019 that happened earlier this year in Berlin, Germany. The tournament has moved all the way to Malaysia in the Southeast Asia region, held here for the first time ever in its history. Now, what's going to be happening for the next 3 days over the weekend here for the PMCO Fall Split 2019? We've got so many performances. For example, Naeem Daniel, local artist. We've also got Henry Lau, a South Korean pop star, performing tomorrow or Saturday, and also Bud Shah, an Indian rapper, performing in the Sunday finals. Like I said, PUBG Mobile is such a huge game to be played right now, and we've got so many supporters here coming to the booth, getting exclusive prizes, getting behind their teams, supporting their teams to win that winner chicken dinner. Now, that's all from myself, Wanazil Islam. Stay tuned for more updates on My Game On, the esports segment. Thank you very much.